Welcome to Volrath, the Shapestealer. As far as opening hand goes, yes, we're going to keep on this one. I love it. We've got Mystical Tutor. We've got Preordained, Night's Whisper, Toxic Deluge. Beautiful opening hand. The only thing that can make this better is if we had some sort of artifact ramp, but hey, beggars will not be choosers. So we're going to go and lead off with Yavimaya Coast once our opponent decides. There we go. All right, so let's go and lead off with Yavimaya Coast. Let's go and go for Preordain. Add that blue mana to our mana pool. See what we can't scurry up on top of our library. Wooded Foothills, and then 3 visits. So I think what we'll do is probably put Wooded Foothills. Actually, yeah, I kind of like this. We'll put Wooded Foothills on top. We'll put 3 visits on top. And that way we draw into 3 visits and we'll draw into the lane next turn and be in a good spot to go. So, anything else? It's going to pass turn to our opponent. So, we are playing Volrath, the Shapestealer. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a -1 counter up to 1 target creature. Then, for a 1-mana activation, until your next turn, Volrath, the Shapestealer becomes a copy of target creature with a counter on it, except it's a 7/5 and it has this ability. So, let's go and play that Wooded Foothills. Let's go and crack that one. Let's grab ourselves a. Let's see. Need to grab a black green. Let's grab Bayou. Let's go for 3 visits. And if we just want to ramp pretty hard, we could Mystical Tutor for like Cultivate or something like that. If that's what we want to do against Golos, that would definitely help us out. We've got Night's Whisper, we've got Toxic. Yeah, I think I don't mind that. So let's go for Tropical Island. We'll have that enter the battlefield. Just in case our opponent is playing blue, let's just go and go for Mystical Tutor. And we just want to get ahead on mana as quickly as possible. That's going to be pretty good. So let's get this popped out. Yeah, let's do that. Let's grab Sky Shroud Claim, and then anything else, we're going to go and pass turn over our opponent. So, in true Sultai fashion, we're just trying to generate as much value as possible, and hopefully that head start gives us a some sort of win condition in the game. So, we're playing Volrath, already covered that. Playing against Golos, Tireless Pilgrim. Whenever Golos enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a land card, put that card onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle your library. Then for a 2-mana activation, Wooburg, exile the top 3 cards of your library. You may play them this turn without paying their mana cost. So we did cover both commanders. It is officially free time. Let's have some fun. I'm excited to see what Golos deck we're playing against. When you play against Golos, you never know what you're going to get. It's kind of cool. So let's go and tap that down. Let's go for Sky Shroud Claim. And at some point, we will get down Opulent Palace, I promise. So let's go Sky Shroud Claim. We've got 2 blue sources, so let's go and grab another blue source. Let's grab ourselves Breeding Pool. And let's grab ourselves Overgrown Tomb. I think it sounds like a pretty good plan. Well, yeah, actually, we'll go and pay 2 life on this one. Pay 2 life on that, and that's going to allow us to go for Night's Whisper. So if you're keeping score at home, look at this life loss. It's 6 life loss this turn. Beautiful. Anything else, we're going to go and pass turn to our opponent. So we do need to get down Volrath, because one of the cool things about Volrath is that you can get those -1 counters going pretty quick, and it's a really good way to kind of start popping your opponent's little mana dorks on the battlefield. That's one of the cool ways to take Volrath, is that you can kind of use it as a pseudo board control, in that you can, just make sure you keep all the little dudes off the battlefield, dudes or dudettes, or anywhere in between. Make sure you keep them off the battlefield, and pretty cool. So opponent's going to go for Rhystic Study, but thankfully we're at the point now where we can just pretty much just play around Rhystic Study the entire game. So if we're going to go for Chromatic Lantern this turn, that's going to be 1, 2, 3. Now we can go Volrath and pay for Rhystic Study, then go for Opulent Palace, and I think I kind of like that because we can get a pretty good clock going. So let's do that. So let's go for, let's tap down for Sultai colors, 1 black mana, Rogue's Passage, and then Tropical Island. Definitely going to pay for that Rhystic Study and not be like Mudsta. Let's pay that 1 colorless mana. Yes, there we go. Have Volrath enter the battlefield. Finally going to get down Opulent Palace, and then pass turn to our opponent. So now this is kind of a good stuff Sultai deck. If you haven't seen this deck before, click OK. We don't want to put any counters on Volrath. All right, there we go. I got worried that somehow I was still going to put a -1 counter on there. But yeah, if you haven't seen this deck before, this is basically the core of the deck is Sultai control / mid-range / good stuff. And so the other good thing about Volrath is it is a 7/5. So in 3 combat swings, if our opponent doesn't get anything down, we're going to be able to deal combat damage or commander damage. So that's a pretty good feeling. Let's get the laying down for the turn. Let's go Catacombs. Let's go and push him with Volrath. Let's go and get that combat damage going. Click OK. And then click OK again with a Frantic Search. It's a pretty good thing for us to hit this turn. So let's go and swing them for a 7/5. And that's going to put them down to 17 and mainly get us on the board for some commander damage. So we're going to go Chromatic Lantern. Yeah, I think that'll be good. So let's go Chromatic Lantern. That'll still give us just enough mana to pay for that Ristic study and still put us in a position to where we can actually end up going for Rhodes Passage next turn, which actually really work out because that's going to be get that commander damage down. That's going to give us just enough mana with Chromatic Lantern to go for Frantic Search. So let's just go and pass the turn to our opponent and kick it back over there. So, but yeah, with Golos, it's one of the fun things in Golos is that it is a 5-color commander and it tutors land. So the cool thing about Golos is if you wanted to build a Nykthos, a Devotion deck, like a mono blue Devotion deck with Golos, it can just find Nykthos right out of your deck. If you build a Guy's Cradle deck, I don't know. There's just a lot of fun things that you can do. Do we want a Frantic Surge? Yeah, let's still go ahead and go for Frantic Search. I think that'll be good. And that's going to be 1, 2. And we're going to pay that 1 for Ristic Study. Because what we can do with this is, yes, definitely going to play that ability. We're going to be able to untap 2 lands. If we run into counters, okay, so we just run into 3 lands. Let's get rid of Nurturing Peatland, and we'll get rid of Command Tower. Because actually what we can do, let's untap 3 lands. We're going to untap Bayou, Tropical Island, and then Rogue's Passage. And unfortunately, we don't have a counter spell to stop Golos, but they're still going to get the land on the battlefield. Now, one thing that we do need to watch out for Golos is Field of the Dead. That's one of those spells that, especially in a Golos deck like this where you're running 5 colors, there's going to be a lot of lands that you can get a lot of zombies going really quickly. So that's going to be one of those things that we do want to watch out for. But thankfully, we do have Toxic Deluge, so if that does happen, we'll at least kind of control the flow of zombies. But at this point, we're probably going to be on the Rogue's Passage game plan. It's not the most exciting win that we can go for, but at least kind of keeping some of these, getting that commander damage in as quickly as possible is something that we definitely want to do. So let's see what we draw into for the turn. It's going to be Soul Ring. Let's go and go for Temple of Deceit and get the Scry going. The Scurry, the Fever. Now, Worldly Tutor on a creature. Man, I'm not sure that's exactly what we end up going for because we just have a bunch of value creatures in here. Then we have to wait on another card draw. Let's go and put that on the bottom for right now. Now I know that may seem kind of goofy, but yeah, but I don't really think waiting a turn to draw Worldly Tutor and then draw a creature, because all the creatures in here are basically just value creatures. So I'm not a huge fan of that. So let's go and pay 1 for Ristic Study. It's going to put it down, and we're going to go for Rogue's Passage. That way we can just go ahead and push past Golos on this one. So we're going to make sure Volrath is unblockable. That's going to be 1, 2, and then 3, and then 4. Let's go and push in for 7. We're still going to go and put that -1 counter onto Golos, just to simply just knock it down to 2, 4. Kind of put it in its place. Let's go and swing in with Volrath. And the other good thing is that it does allow us to potentially end up going Toxic to where we can kind of clean up Golos just a little bit quicker without having to pay a ton of life. So we're going to put our opponent down to 8. That's going to be 14 total commander damage. And then anything else, no, we're going to go and pass the turn. So even if they do end up getting down Merit Lage token, we still have Toxic Deluge. We can pay 20 life. We are sitting at 20, at 22, so that is something that we can end up doing. Hopefully, because even if they do get down Merit Lage, the next turn we've got Rogue's Passage, so they would almost have to get some sort of hasty option at this point right now to kind of stop us with Volrath. But yeah, this is one of the cool things about this deck is that we can kind of turn it into this pseudo aggro deck. We're just trying to swing in as quickly as possible and deal as much damage as possible. If the coast is clear, if there's this little window to where we can get down Volrath and swing in and get some commander damage, it's a pretty good feeling. So opponent's going to go for Vincer. Going to bounce Golos, bring back Golos. I would assume that's probably going to end up grabbing Thespian Stage, but if that's the case, then that's going to allow us to go for Rogue's Passage next turn and just close it out with commander damage. So we're going to get the Golos trigger. Let's see what land they end up grabbing out of their library. Oh, this is going to be Glacial Chasm. So, enters the battlefield, sacrifice a land. Creatures you control can't attack, and to prevent all damage that would be dealt to you. So, that's definitely going to keep us away from swinging in with commander damage total. But what we can end up doing is getting rid of Vincer, and I think that will be a good option. So let's go and pay 1 life. Crack Catacombs. Let's go and grab ourselves Watery Grave. That way we have to shock it in later. Click OK on that. Let's see what we rip into. Now, we do have land spot removal in here. We just don't have it just yet, so as you can tell. So let's go and go for Volrath. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's go and push in at Vincer because we really want to stop that that bounce ability. Going to swing in at Vincer. That's going to get rid of Vincer, and then we do have the land drop to make for turn. That's going to be Drowned Catacomb. So we'll go and get that down. And then let's see, anything else? We're going to go on pass turn to our opponent. So with Glacial Chasm, there's going to be a cumulative upkeep of them paying 2 life. And so we'll see what they're going to grab with Enlightened Tutor. Let's go and get the reveal zone popped up. But at least it's still going to force them to pay a couple life. Now, one way that we can dig ourselves out of this is we do have, I'm pretty sure we've got Torment of Hellfire and Exsanguinate. So if we find one of those cards, that's going to allow, we've got more than enough mana to go for that, even if we ended up paying the Ristic Study trigger. So they still get the cumulative upkeep trigger on Glacial Chasm. With them going for Enlightened Tutor on Crucible of Worlds, that's still going to allow them to make that Glacial Chasm play out of the graveyard once they get down Crucible of Worlds. So enters the battlefield yeah. So it's basically going to prevent all damage. And I think with the Sanguinate, it is life loss. So that's going to be an important thing for us. Now, if they end up basically just going Crucible of Worlds, Glacial Chasm, they don't have a ton of mana at this point right now. They can still keep making lands out of the graveyard with their fetch lands, but hopefully it might kind of bottleneck them on mana. So let's see what we run into for the turn. Run into another island. And I guess at this point, we'll probably just go for some Volrath activations. I think that sounds pretty good. Yeah, we'll just pay 1 colorless. Yeah, let's do that. All right, so we're going to have Volrath become a copy of Golos. It's still a 7/5. And that's going to allow us to, with Chromatic Lantern on our side, we can just tap out for some Golos activations. Yeah, let's give it a shot. I think we've got, yeah, it's better than just doing nothing. So maybe we get some sort of hasty option or something like that, or maybe we run into something else that we can pop them. Have we made the land drop for the turn? No, we have not made the land drop. So if we run into some of our, well, actually, it's not going to matter if we grab Wasteland because they have Crucible of Worlds. So yeah, I still like going for this. So let's go for the Golos activation. This is what you come here for. Volrath being a Golos. I don't know. That's going to be white. Let's tap down for blue, tap down for black, tap down for red, and then tap down green, and then tap down for 1 more colorless mana. So there we go. All right, so we're going to be able to go for the Golos activation. Let's see what we run into for the turn. At this point, we're just kind of looking to maybe run into one of our tutor pieces. We already run into Mystical Tutor. We have Demonic Tutor and a Vampiric Tutor. Or you can just run into Cyclonic Rift. Okay, so we do have enough mana to pay for Ristic Study. So let's go Island for the turn. I want to make sure that we're sequencing this correctly, especially with Kodama's Reach. So let's go Kodama's Reach. We're going to be able to cast that. And we'll pay for that 1 Ristic Study with the island that we just played. And I think we still have basics in here. Yeah, we should still have a swamp and forest in here. So let's go grab ourselves a forest. And we'll grab ourselves a swamp. Just split this one down the middle. Let's grab a forest onto the battlefield. Swamp into our hand. Let's go for Worldly Tutor. Because I think with Worldly Tutor, what we probably want to end up doing is just straight up just grabbing Snapcaster. That'll probably be the best bet. So let's grab Snapcaster Mage. That's going to go on top of our library. Now with Cyclonic Rift, I kind of like bouncing Crucible of Worlds back to their hand. Yeah, that'll be good because we don't have the mana to pay for the overloaded cost. But with bouncing Crucible of Worlds, what that's going to do is it's going to force them to either, recast Crucible of Worlds, eat up some mana, or maybe kind of pay that double Glacial Chasm, however they want to sequence this. So we should be in a pretty good spot. So let's see what they're actually going to. They still have 3 cards left in the hand. See what they're going for. Teferi's Protection. Okay, so at least we kind of got that Teferi's Protection out of the way. Can you imagine going for... or I just not saw that our opponent said, oh no, in the chat. We can't swing in. Is that weird interaction where they can't... Yeah, we can't change our life total anyway, so I'll just go and pass the turn back over to our opponent. But yeah, so with Snapcaster on top, we can end up going for Mystical Tutor. That's going to allow us to put something on top of our library. And... probably going to end up grabbing Exsanguinate. All right, so they're going to have to sacrifice a land with Glacial Chasm. Now, with Snapcaster, that does leave us open to end up going for something like Mystical Tutor. We can't actually just go for an overloaded Cyclonic Rift, even though there's not that much stuff out there. But I still think at this point, our best bet is to go Mystical Tutor. So as far as what we can use to close the game out, there we go. We do have... Villainous Whelp, that's one that we can close the game out. And you know what? I just now realized we don't have Exsanguinate in here. So I keep talking about Exsanguinate. We don't have that. So unfortunately, looks like we don't have it in here. So we might end up having to go for a Villainous Whelp, which is May not be the best against our opponent's deck, but if we keep going for these Golos activations, maybe we can do something. Now, if we can find ourselves a way to deal with the Crucible Worlds, let's say we do run into Wasteland for the turn, that will allow us to finally close the game out. So that's kind of what we're digging for at this point right now. So worst case scenario, with Snapcaster, we can go Mystical Tutor for Demonic Tutor, or Vampiric Tutor, and put that on top of our library. So I think we might end up doing that. So let's go for that. So let's go Snapcaster Mage. That's going to be 1/2, and then with Golos active ability. Yeah, let's do that. So we're going to go Snapcaster. We will end up paying that 1 mana for Rhystic Study. Yeah, let's go Snapcaster on Mystical Tutor. That way we can cast Mystical Tutor and put something on top of our library. So it's going to go Mystical Tutor. And we're going to go and pay that 1 for Rhystic Study again. And yes, definitely going to pay that. Then we put Demonic Tutor on top of our library. And I think we go for a Volrath activation. That way with Demonic Tutor, we can grab Wasteland, get rid of Glacial Chasm. And that'll clear the way next turn for Volrath. So I think I kind of like that. So let's have Swamp enter the battlefield. Let's have that 1 mana activation, have Volrath become a copy of Golos. Let's activate Golos. Okay, so we're going to exile the top 3 cards. Ooh, we run into Mana Crypt, Sword of Feast and Famine, and Demonic Tutor. So I'm just going to cast Demonic Tutor. We're going to pay that 1 for Rhystic Study. And let's get this popped out really quick. Yeah, and we're just simply going to go and grab Wasteland at this point, because we can pop that Glacial Chasm next turn once we swing in unchecked. So I guess we can still end up going for Mana Crypt, just in case we run into like Villainous Wealth next turn or something. We can still end up paying that 1 mana. So let's get down Mana Crypt. Let's go for the Bayou activation. We'll get down Mana Crypt, and then anything else. We can't swing in and deal any damage. I think we're simply just going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. So yeah, unfortunately, this is one of those. Now, we could go we don't need Sword of Feast of Famine. We'll just go ahead and pass the turn. Yeah, but unfortunately with Exsanguinate, there's just a lot of times where, you're building a lot of commander decks. Of course, you would love to have every piece in there, but after this game, I will definitely be putting Exsanguinate in there. There's just sometimes you just always forget how good that card is at closing games out, especially when you're building a Sultai deck or any sort of, green-black Sultai deck, anything that's going to be able to generate a ton of mana. Just having that ability is just such a good thing. So, at this point right now, I think we're in a pretty good spot to where this Glacial Chasm, once we pop that, they can't attack and prevent all damage. It's really going to allow us to just basically swing in with Volrath next turn, especially once we make it unblockable with Rogue's Passage. So kind of not as fancy as going for an Exsanguinate or as fun, but at least we're going to be able to, we got that Teferi's Protection out earlier once we went for that Cyclonic Rift. So let's see what they end up doing for the turn, then hopefully we can close this game out next turn. Okay, so let's go ahead and choose Tails on this Mana Crypt trigger. There we go. Won the flip. We were 1 for 1 on those Mana Crypt triggers all the way at turn 10. Let's not goof up and click on Misty. So we're going to go Wasteland. Let's go Wasteland. Where did you go? We're going to destroy Glacial Chasm. And if they have Heroic Intervention, I think I'll just right-click scoop. I don't know if I could. Okay, there we go. All right, so we're going to make sure that Rogue's Passage, target creature can't be blocked. That's going to be Volrath. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure the Volrath can't be blocked. Let's go and swing in for a 7/5, and we will end up putting a -1 counter, I think, on Oracle. Yeah, because we've got all the lands that we need to make. It's going to be nice to be able to make just extra land drops. So we're going to put that -1 counter on Oracle, and then we're going to go and swing in with Volrath. So hopefully this should be it. We'll see if our opponent has any tricks up their sleeve, and just took a little bit of finagling to finally find Wasteland. But it looks like oh, there we go. Close it out. We're going to put our opponent down to -3 and 21 total commander game damage. Good game. I was saying game because we're playing against our opponent, and they just said good game. And our opponent's going to reveal they got Mana Drain on top. But yes, good game to our opponent. That was a lot of fun to kind of play out. Wasn't really that crazy of a Golos deck. It's kind of what I expected. Some sort of kind of land-focused deck, which is always fun to play against. But being able to squeeze out on win with Volrath is a pretty good feeling. So if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye. Welcome to Volrath, the Shapestealer. As far as our opening hand goes, we've got Harbor. And double talisman. We have to hit a land in order for this to be good. How do we want to keep on this one? I do like the ramp. I like frantic search, but if we don't run into a land, this is just ugh. Let's keep it. All right. So we're gonna keep on this one. Hopefully it's not. Hopefully we hit the land. You know, if you're keeping score at home, you should definitely pray to the magic gods on this one that we do hit a land. So let's go and lead off with harbor, and then anything else we're gonna go and pass the turn to our opponent. So, yeah, one of the worst things you can ever do in Magic is like you keep that one lander, and then you draw for your turn 2, and you don't hit the land, and you just pass the turn, and your opponent just gives you that look like, oh, kept a one lander. Okay, let's see. All right, so. Oh, beautiful. Okay, let's go and go for just like we drew it up. Let's go polluted delta. Let's go and grab a underground sea. Yeah, that'll be good. Grab ourselves an underground sea. Let's go for 3 visits. Oh, that it was. Feels good to have fun in Magic sometimes. So let's go for this 3 visits. That's going to allow us to. We do probably have. Don't have a ton of double green in here, but let's just go and grab a black-green source. I think that'd be good. So let's go and grab Overgrown Tombs. Let's go and have that come into play tapped. Not going to pay 2 life and then anything else. We're going to go and pass turn to our opponent. So we're playing Volrath, the Shapestealer. At the beginning of combat, put a -1 counter on up to 1 target creature. Then for a 1-mana activation, until your next turn, Volrath, the Shapestealer, becomes a copy of target creature with a counter on it, except it's 7/5. And it still has this ability. Playing gets Gov, Guru of Spores. Whenever Gov enters the battlefield, it enters the battlefield with 5/+1 counters on it. Then for a 1-mana activation, remove a counter from a creature you control, create a sapling token. And then for another 1-mana activation, sacrifice a creature, put a +1 counter on target creature. So there we go. It's officially free time. Now let's have some fun. Now, if you don't know about the Boogeyman, we are playing against the Boogeyman. My win percentage against the Boogeyman is very, very poor, really bad. And the Boogeyman is probably, I guess I would call it competitive commander, CDH, which is pretty fun to play against sometimes. And I'll kind of explain why we're playing this, though. So let's go for Talisman of Dominance. Because let's see, we go Frantic Search. Yeah, I think I still like going Talisman, because that's going to be 1/2. We can still get on Talisman of Resilience. And that'll still allow us to end up going for Deathrite Shaman. Yeah, I like that. So let's add that green mana to our mana pool. Let's go for Deathrite Shaman. It's going to be 1 green mana. And then we'll pass turn over to our opponent. So, but yes, the Boogeyman. He or she tends to play a lot of competitive commander lists. And I really enjoy playing against him or her. All right, I really enjoy playing against the Boogeyman. It's always some really good back and forth. And so if I ever see they have a game open, I tend to like to join it and grab one of my more competitive decks. And so I saw that the Boogeyman had a game open. I was like, wow, let's just grab Volrath, because Volrath, out of the new commanders out of Commander 19, Volrath was kind of the more, wouldn't necessarily call it cutthroat, but it's something that's a little bit more, I guess, hang with competitive commander, whatever that would be, whatever sort of percentage deck that would happen. So, but I do know that their Gov deck is probably fine-tuned to be last time we played, I think they ended up comboing out with Aristocrats, and if the play history with them, they tend to be pretty cutthroat. So hopefully we can get some good stuff going this game. So we do have Sword of Truth and Justice. We do have Frantic Search that we can end up going for. I think if we want to get some stuff done, I really enjoy actually going for. Let's do this. So let's go for Frantic Search first. Yeah, because I want to be able to leave up Deathrite Shaman and Arcane Denial up. So let's do this. So let's go for Frantic Search, because I think what we might end up doing is going for Volrath. That way we can get a few counters onto Zulaport Cutthroat. So we do need to discard 2 cards. Let's go and get rid of Opulent Palace. And this just doesn't really feel like a Sword of Truth and Justice game at this point right now. We could we could end up proliferating with those -1 counters. So I think we do end up holding on to that. And I guess, yeah, still with Sword of Truth and Justice. Yeah, let's go and get rid of that. I'm fine with that, because I kind of like Eternal Witness for the long game. So let's go and untap these 3 lands. Let's get down Swamp. Let's go for a Volrath. So we're going to have Volrath enter the battlefield, and we're going to put that -1 counter onto Zulaport, and that way we just kind of keep that Aristocrat package off the battlefield. That's going to be really important that we do that. So let's get that -1 counter on Zulaport Cutthroat, and that's the other cool thing about Volrath, is you don't necessarily have to build this kind of Voltron deck or the Shapestealer deck. There's a lot of 1/1 creatures in Magic, and just having the opportunity to dump a creature, a -1 counter on a creature, it's a pretty nice effect. So anything else, let's go and pass turn over our opponent. So we're going to leave up Arcane Denial. We can exile one of our opponent's fetch lands out of their graveyard. That's going to allow us to hopefully maybe counter something like Gov or some sort of ramp spell because we want to try to keep the mana on our side of the battlefield. Now, playing a ton of aristocrats, one of the main things that you want to do is you want to keep aristocrat pieces off the battlefield. Typically, if you're playing aristocrats, you want to keep it in your hand until you're getting ready to combo off. The longer they sit out there like that in the open, the kind of worse it is. So we're definitely going to be putting a high priority on any sort of aristocrat pieces that come down, because as long as they're in the graveyard, it's not really going to hurt us that bad. So, and let's see, that's going to be 5 total mana. Let's go ahead and go for the Arcane Denial on Gov. And so we're going to go for Arcane Denial. And with this Eternal Witness, I really like actually going Eternal Witness on Arcane Denial. That way we just have some sort of counter package next turn to kind of keep Gov off the battlefield. Because I don't know all of the actual combos you can do with Gov. And I know Earthcraft and I think you can, I don't know if you can go infinite with Earthcraft, but basically, we want to try to keep Gov off the battlefield. That doesn't sound like a good plan for us. So, opponent's going to be able to draw 2 cards. Let's go ahead and cash in one more card draw with Arcane Denial. But, so Thran Dynamo. They right away, they can't really go for Gov again. Well, that'll be 5 with the land drop, tap down a creature. Or actually, we can just draw into Snapcaster Mage, and that'll keep Arcane Denial online. So, let's go for Thran Dynamo. Yeah, that'll be pretty good. So, we're going to go for Thran Dynamo. Okay, so we're going to have Thran Dynamo enter the battlefield. That's going to allow us to go Snapcaster and Arcane Denial. So let's go and push in with Volrath. Let's go and put a -1 counter onto Corpse Knight. And that'll make it a 1/1. And let's go and push in. It's going to be 7 coming across. And that's the other good thing about Volrath and being a Sultai commander is that even if you're not going heavy Voltron or, stealing like I mentioned earlier in the game, simply just getting 3 swings in with a 7/5 commander, that's pretty strong for Sultai because Sultai tends to lack, Sultai is very good at generating a ton of value, but it also lacks the ability to close games out sometimes, or it's a little gets down to the wire. I just feel like I have a lot of Sultai games where we do really good for most of the game, then we just like, oh, all right, yep, opponent's gonna get it because I don't know, that's just Sultai. It's versatile, but yeah, let's go and talk about the actual deck itself. Besides Gov Aristocrats, if I take random pauses, I do apologize. I'm kind of getting over a cold. But if you haven't seen Volrath yet, no, my kind of initial take on this deck is I wanted to go for a Sultai kind of Spellslinger deck. So we do have Fable of Wolf and Moon, I think. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but it is a 5-mana enchantment. It allows us to, whenever we cast like a green spell, we get a token. Whenever we cast a blue spell, we get a bird token. And so that's one way that we can kind of, ramp into a lot of mana, get that spell down, and then start just casting stuff like Arcane Denial, Frantic Search, get those tokens really kind of built up. We do have Murmuring Mystic in here. We also do have Metallurgic Summonings, which is, if you haven't played with Metallurgic Summonings, it's a ton of fun. Just being able to just have your spells become these little construct tokens. It's a really good feeling in Magic. And then outside of that, we're just going to let our opponent kind of do the work for us with Volrath. That's kind of what we're trying to go for is we don't really have a ton of crazy ability creatures in here. We want our opponent to get their creatures down and in true Sultai fashion, just kind of use our opponent's resources to our advantage. And one of the ways we can win is Villainous Well. So that's another way that we try to close games out is by tapping out for really big Villainous Well. So it's kind of basically part Sultai ramp / get a lot of tokens on the battlefield and just kind of see what sort of fun stuff you can play as. And it tends to kind of play out like a cube deck too, which is a lot of fun to kind of pilot. And that's the other fun way that you can end up taking a deck like this is by kind of having the deck be the focal point of the deck to where we're trying to make sure the core of the deck is like super strong. It puts Volrath into this kind of this closer position to where, we don't have to have a lot of pieces on the battlefield to make sure that Volrath is going to perform really well. Just simply being able to try to control the board state, generate a lot of value, and then just use him as a closer. It's a really nice feeling, you can get steal a lot of games that way, and just really kind of keeps the pressure off. You have Volrath, it is going to be 5 mana, and a lot of the times we're going to see Knight of the Reliquary. Yeah, I think we're going to be pretty brutal on this one. So let's go Snapcaster. We're going to have Snapcaster enter the battlefield, and we're going to counter Knight of the Reliquary. We just really want to keep any sort of land recursion out of here. I don't know exactly if Knight of the Reliquary is going to be a combo piece with Gov, but yeah, I think it'd be better if we keep this one off the battlefield. So let's go for Arcane Denial. We are giving our opponent some card draw, but with them kind of being bottlenecked on mana, we can use this to our advantage. So as long as we just counter the big piece that we're looking for, that's going to help us out. So let's go Arcane Denial on Knight of the Reliquary. You're gonna use that last color that's floating, and that still leaves us open next turn to end up going for Eternal Witness to bring back. Oh no, excuse me, it's gonna get exiled with Snapcaster Mage. So I was thinking we could bring it back with Eternal Witness, but we still have a Frantic Search that we can go for. That will allow us to dig a little bit deeper, and we do have the draw from Arcane Denial. Okay, their opponent's going to end up going for a crop rotation, so we'll see what land they end up grabbing. But yeah, with Eldraine coming out very soon, super excited for a lot of these new commanders to come out. In fact, if there's any commander that you're really excited about, let me know in the comments. I plan on building most of them. I've got it pulled up now. I'm really excited about Tulane because typically I don't really build a lot of Bant decks, and so it's going to be nice to kind of not necessarily get out of my comfort zone, but just kind of build decks that you normally don't really ever do, and Bant decks typically tend to be that. And so really excited about that. And especially just whenever you cast a creature card, just draw a card. Okay, sounds like a plan. And then put a land from your hand on the battlefield too. That is just bonkers. I'm really excited about Brawl for that too, because that's just going to be a value engine. And also with the Leela, I think that's how you say it. So I've always kind of bounced back and forth on building like an Esper, artifact style deck because I really love Mindcrank combo. I also really enjoy the Thopter Foundry combo, especially that being more popular because of Urza and Modern. It's always nice to see that. And but yeah, with Alila, that's gonna make it perfect to run all these just kind of busted artifact combos. So I can't wait to build her and just really build this like Tezzeret deck because I finally have like this Esper Tezzeret home commander. So I can't wait for that. Let's go for the card draw from Arcane Denial. Opponent's gonna cash into card draw. Draw into Damnation. And then let's see what else we run into. Run into Murmuring Mystic. So at this point, we can actually end up going for Damnation if we wanted to. We can, I think at this point, if we want to kind of be aggressive, we just go ahead and swing in with Volrath and see if Rayhan's going to end up blocking. I think that'll be pretty good because that allows us to get in for another 7. Yeah, that'll be good. So let's go and push in with Volrath. Let's go and put a -1 counter onto Rayhan. It's going to make it a 2/2. Let's go and push in. Probably Snapcaster and Volrath. I think that sounds pretty good. So, because even if they end up blocking with Snapcaster, that's going to allow us to at least bring it back with Eternal Witness, or at the very least, we're going to get rid of Rayhan on the battlefield. So it's going to put our opponent at 14 total commander damage, puts him at 9 life total. Yeah, I still think we just go, because that's going to be Eternal Witness. And let's go for Frantic Search, because we can generate a pretty good amount of mana. We could try to go for Murmuring Mystic right now, but I really like bringing back Frantic Search and just hopefully just kind of digging for another counter spell. Let's go and bring back Frantic Search. It's going to be just a really nice value play. So let's go. Yes, definitely want to use that ability. Let's tap down a few extra lands. So let's go for Frantic Search. And that's going to allow us to untap Underground Sea, Overgrown Tomb. Okay, so we run into Cultivate and Bloodstained Mire. Not exactly what we're wanting to see. We could just go for a Damnation. I kind of like that because we can also rebuild with Murmuring Mystic, and we got enough mana to go for Volrath. So let's discard Bloodstained Mire. Let's go ahead and get rid of Cultivate. Let's untap a few more lands. Yeah, I think we're going to get rid of Zulaport Cutthroat. So we're going to use that last green mana. There we go. Let's go and exile Zulaport Cutthroat, and then let's go for this Damnation just to hit the reset button. This may seem a little like overkill, but I tend to not play a lot of Gov, or play against the Gov a lot, and I don't know if they're going to be able to go infinite with Rayhans. I'm just kind of going for a little bit more of a just kind of board wipe style effect, just keeping Rayhan off the battlefield and keeping the shenanigans down to a minimum. So anything else, we're going to pass turn over to our opponent. So we can actually just kind of recast Volrath next turn. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's going to be 9 total mana, so that'll still leave us 2 open mana. We'll see what we draw into, but I want to keep as many bad pieces off the battlefield as possible. That's one of the main things I want to keep going for. Now with Korvold, that's going to be the Jund Dragon. I did play the Brawl whenever they released it on Arena, and that was fun, but it's so weird whenever it attacks, we have to sacrifice another permanent. So, but that is pretty much ripe for Jund Aristocrats. I've never done Jund Aristocrats, so I think that might be the, to all the people who've seen my channel in the past, I have a very high opinion of Aristocrats, so it should probably come as a surprise. I'm going to be building another Aristocrats deck. So that's another one that I'm excited about. One of the other kind of low-key ones is actually going to be Grumgully, the Golgari Goblin Shaman. Each other non-human creature you control enters the battlefield with an additional +1 counter on it. First of all, the art is just wild on that card, and I don't know. I just really, it's just going to enable a lot of just random tribes. There's been a lot of times where I wanted to build like a barbarian deck. Maybe I wanted to build a druid tribal deck, and so the fact that you're going to have these creatures enter the battlefield with additional +1 counter, just kind of having this extra tribal, kind of universal tribal commander. That's going to be pretty cool. So I'm excited about that one. And also a Torbrand. That's going to be the mono red commander. The fact that if a red source you control would deal damage to an opponent or a permanent opponent controls, it deals that much damage +2. I typically don't build a lot of burn decks in Commander. A lot of the aggro decks I've ever built have been like Carry Zav, which is a ton of fun to play, and get especially when you get Ragavan on the battlefield. And then with Torban, just kind of having this like burn deck where you just kind of have this extra damage that tacks on to any sort of red source that you're going to go for. That's a pretty good feeling. I'm also excited about Rankle. Rankle, I think that's how you say it. It's the mono black fairy rogue. With that particular commander, it's going to be interesting because, pretty much want to play this cutthroat. So I'm actually kind of thinking about building like a, not necessarily a smallpox style deck, but something along the lines of, the name's escaping me. Oh, 8-rack, there we go. Building like an 8-rack style deck. So we do run into Temple of Deceit, which is, it's okay. Let's just go and get Volrath on the battlefield because that's going to allow us to pop that Bloom Tinder and keep Bloom Tinder off the battlefield, which is going to be a good thing for us. So that's going to be tapped down for Sultai Colors. There we go. Let's tap down for one more. It's going to be Volrath entering the battlefield, and we'll definitely put that that -1 counter onto Bloom Tinder. Let's go for the Temple of Deceit. We're going to get the Scry going, the Scurry, the Fever, the Insanity. And then Lightning Greaves. Now, yeah, not super wild about Lightning Greaves. So let's go and put this one on the bottom. And then we only have 2 mana up, so we're simply just going to go and pass turn over our opponent. So let's go and put that -1 counter into Bloom Tinder. It's going to cut them back on mana, which is definitely going to be a good thing because once they get Gob down, that's going to be a pretty good way to tap down for some mana. So, but yeah, excited about Grumgully and then Torban. There's another one that I'm excited about. Linden, not necessarily going to build. Our opponent's going to go for Assassin's Trophy on Volrath. You know what? Yeah, yeah, we're good with that. Totally fine. Let's go and grab ourselves, I think at this point, yeah, we need to grab another green source. So let's go and grab another forest. That's going to enter the battlefield. We still get that -1 counter onto Bloom Tinder, which is going to work out well for us. So, and then pass the turn to us. But yeah, with the Linden, the Steadfast Queen, Vigilance, whenever a white creature you control attacks, you gain 1 life. I don't know if I'm actually going to build it as a standalone deck. I'd like to. It'd be kind of fun to see where we can take that. But that is definitely going to be going in Darien. Because if you haven't seen Darien, Darien King of Keldor, it's kind of like a Pain Army style deck. And what happens is whenever you're dealt damage, you create that many 1/1 soldier tokens. So having something like Linden that you incorporate into the deck is a very, very nice feeling. So it is getting to official Magic Junk time now. We're both at like 1 card in the hand, and we've got Secura Tri-Builder Beat Sticks, which is, it's like when you're playing against Ad Nauseam and they have what is it? Simian Spirit God Beat Sticks. That's always just fun whenever you turn them sideways like that. So that's going to put us down to 26. And since we have been kind of yakking for about 20 minutes, I'm going to let our opponents finish out our turn, and then I will jump into commentary on our turn. Okay, so that was it. So let's see what we draw into for the turn. Hopefully we can get some sort of token board state developed. That'd be pretty good. Opponent is tapping down for 2 mana. So we'll see what this is going to be. Not entirely sure. Anguished Unmaking. Oh, okay. So they're definitely going for the cut us off any sort of mana game plan. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, because we can't flash anything in, so that's going to get rid of that. The only thing is it does put them down to 5, and they are in top deck mode. So we're definitely going to get down Murmuring Mystic. So let's go ahead and go for that. And I think instead of us getting the land drop this turn, what we're going to do is we're going to hold on to Yavimaya Coast because I want our opponent to play around a counter spell. So we're going to hold on to Yavimaya Coast and then pass the turn. Argument could be made that our opponent probably knows we would have done something with Anguish Unmaking, but when you're playing competitive, your opponent's kind of competitive. If you want to go for that next level kind of game where you're playing this game of chicken, we're going to hold on to Yavimaya Coast. So it would be nice to make it that we can get down Volrath, but at this point, hopefully we can just cash in some sort of instant or sorcery and go from there. Now, our opponent did draw into a land, so they got the land down for the turn. We do have Westphal. I think they actually drew into Westphal Abbey and played that. So we do have to watch out for them getting 5 creatures on the battlefield. Gov is looking at 7 total mana. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They do have some Earthcraft shenanigans that they can end up going for. So we do need to watch out for our Westphal Abbey. So hopefully we can run it. If we run into one of our draw spells, that would just be perfect. Whether it's just Stroke of Genius or Pull from Tomorrow, just being able to tap out and cash in a ton of card draw would be a very good feeling. But it looks like our opponent's actually might end up just straight up just passing the turn, which can be a very good thing. So let's see what we draw into. Hopefully it's just, ooh, Toxic Deluge. Okay. Now what we can do with Toxic, because let's check out the converted mana cost. That's going to be 9 total mana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we actually can't cast Volrath. So I think at this point, since we are looking at a 1/5 for Murmuring Mystic, I kind of like going for Teysa. Yeah, let's keep Teysa off the battlefield. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3. And even if we swing in, we get that 2 damage on Murmuring Mystic. I don't like swinging in with Murmuring Mystic, because we're going to be able to pay 4, get rid of Secure Tri-Builder and Teysa, and hopefully buy a little bit more time for Westphal Abbey. So we're going to pay 4 life with Toxic Deluge. That's going to give us a token, but unfortunately that bird token is going to get hit with some Swamp Rain and fall down to the ground. So we'll go for Toxic for 4. We're going to see the Tri-Builder crack. Might see our opponent go for a Phyrexian Tower activation, but either way, it's going to keep Teysa off the battlefield, which can be a very good thing because, like I mentioned, keeping the Aristocrat pieces off the battlefield is key to making sure that you don't get comboed out, whether it's Corpse Knight or Zulaport Cutthroat or Teysa, doubling the amount of triggers that they're going to be able to get. That's just something that we want to watch out for. So we're going to go Toxic for 4. That bird's going to hit the battlefield, but it's going to fall right away as soon as that happens. So looks like they're going to tap down a little bit of extra mana. Okay, let's go and swing in. No, swing in for -3. Let them gain 3, and then anything else, we're going to go and pass turn to our opponent. So we're both in top deck mode. Hopefully, we can generate a little bit more value quicker than they can. We're probably going to see some activations from Westphal Abbey. Now, this does put this in an interesting spot to where with Westphal Abbey, if they have to pay that 1 life to create that token on the battlefield, that's really going to eat away at their life total. So I'm glad we ran into that Toxic Deluge. That really kind of helped us clean the board up a little bit. And man, if we could just rip an Exsanguinate off the top, that would be so nice. If you're gonna pray to the magic gods, please pray for that. Oh yeah, with Rankle. So with Rankle, I'm definitely going to build an 8-rack deck. I've never really built a heavy discard deck in Commander. I know there's different ways you can go with discard commanders to where you can generate, like Anjay. I built kind of this red-black madness wheel effect style storm deck where you're just trying to generate a ton of mana and different things like that. But yeah, it's going to be fun to kind of build a Rankle deck. So opponent's going to go for Gov. So let's go and let them just kind of go through this turn, and I'll jump into commentary if something happens. Okay, and they do have Blood Artists on the battlefield. And so that's going to put them all the way down to 3. So we draw into Supreme Will. Okay. Yeah, I think we just Supreme Will at this point right now. Because we can look at the top 4 cards. That's going to be a great way for us to dig deep. Yeah, we need to do this. So let's go for Supreme Will. We're going to look at the top 4 cards of our library. The other thing is it does give us a bird token on the battlefield. So let's dig a little bit deep, because even at this point, they've got a ton of mana. And, ooh, Assassin's Trophy. Yeah, I like that. So let's grab Assassin's Trophy. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow us to get rid of Westphal Abbey, which is going to be very important for this. So let's go Assassin's Trophy. That's going to be green and black. That does give him an extra land, but the core thing is that we're going to get rid of that lifelink ability, and it still gives us another bird token on the battlefield with Murmuring Mystic, and they are sitting at 3. So that's going to be really good. So that was really nice hitting that Assassin's Trophy. And so we'll pop this Westphal Abbey. And then anything else, we don't have enough mana for Volrath, so we could swing in with Murmuring Mystic, but Gov is sitting over there at 5/5, so that doesn't sound that much fun. So, but yeah, I did some research on Rankle. Well, not necessarily research. In fact, I'm just going to talk about my production process and making new Commander videos. So whenever a new set releases, I create an Excel file, and I have little, 10 or so, or maybe about 10 columns for every commander, and then I just kind of put everything that I see online, little things. Hey, you can do this in here, you can do this in here, and then once that happens, I just end up basically just kind of assembling some sort of game plan for how I want to take the deck. Okay, so this is Infinite. I'm gonna go and scoop it up on this one. Boogeyman's gonna get this game. Unfortunately, on this one, with me hitting Westvale Abbey, I just completely overlooked the Earthcraft with Gov. And if you're sitting there screaming at your computer saying, Jolt, oh my god, why didn't you blow up Earthcraft instead of Westvale Abbey? Hey, here's the explanation. I don't play against Gov a lot. I don't really see it a lot in Magic Online, and I don't, my particular playstyle with commanders, I don't really build infinite combos in decks like that. And so I'm not, cheapening our opponent's win. It's a completely valid strategy to win. It's just I don't know to look for that sometimes. And while I'm giving commentary and deciding what we're trying to do for the turn, I just may not realize subconsciously that there's a certain interaction that may be happening. So good game to our opponent. I hate that we popped that one, but to be perfectly honest, if we untap and then they have the Westvale Abbey not operation, but the Westvale Abbey activation, we're going to have a life linker coming across and they're going to slowly start to gain life. So that's why I targeted Westvale Abbey, was because we're trying to keep our opponent's life total down low. So it's kind of like pick your poison. It's one of those that maybe we pop Earthcraft and they go for that, then they stabilize, start gaining a bunch of life, and then there's other ways that they can combo off. So either way, it probably wasn't looking good by the time we got down to the end of the game like that. But unfortunately, hey, that just happens. It's how Magic goes sometimes, and you learn from your mistakes. So I will certainly keep in mind that Earthcraft and Gov is something that I want to make sure that we keep off the battlefield. So, but if you still enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.